Bumping that cool kids. What you doing, bro? What's going on, man? One Up Needs back for another video. I got my B20 here. We're gonna be tearing this motor apart. Got to get ready for the B20 vtec, the GSR head to go on. Right now, we just need to worry about taking this head off, getting this timing set, and then we got to take the oil pan off, and then take the pistons out, and then basically just do a full inspection over the motor, make sure everything's good to go, check our warpage on the head and whatnot, see what's up with that. So yeah, right now just draining the oil, letting that drain. First thing is just setting the timing, and then we about to take these cams out and then take the head off.
We are shining. We are shining. We are shining.
We're not. I ain't gonna lie, last week where I was in, you was doing like 90 cutting up, and I'm being dead ass.
Look at that, head is off. Looks like this head gasket was butt cheeks. Trash. Not that we needed it anyways, because we got a new one. But dude, this block look clean, bro. It's clean. Pistons don't look bad at all. Like, you can still see they kind of shiny too, even though that don't matter because we got new pistons for it. Head still look beautiful. So if you're watching this and you need a cylinder head for a B20, give me $100 because that's what I paid for the motor. Give me $100 and you can take it. It look pretty clean, not bad at all. Now we gotta flip this motor around and then take the pistons out. So we'll take the pistons out, drop this tank or this oil pan, and get to it. Boy, that B20 vtec CRV finna be going crazy, man. You already know we got a lot of plans for this B20. But if you are gonna go B20V vtec on a B20, you do need to switch out the water pumps to a GSR water pump, because these are 16 tooth if I'm not mistaken, and the GSR ones are 22 teeth. So more teeth, you have to run it because of the cams have different size teeth on it, so have to run the GSR water pump, mandatory, or else your timing not gonna be right. Yes sir, head off like 20 minutes, so time to get into taking these pistons out and inspecting this block. So you already know. Let's go.
We are shining.
Alright, we are taking off the caps, the bottom caps from the connector rod. All you want to do is take the wooden bottom of a hammer to the threads and just tap it with another hammer or a mallet. And it should pop down. Just like that. Now, lift up on your cap. There you have one cap and your other cap. Using an extension to push down on the stud to get the pistons through. First piston out. Real nice. We got a block apart now, pistons all out. Basically a bare block, so at this time you should be able to spin this crank by hand. So you grab this. and you should literally be able to. There should be no resistance at all. If you got resistance, that means you have issue in your crankshaft main bearings. Now, I would take this apart, but this was a running motor when I got it, so we are going to leave this crank alone and just literally reuse the bearings and reuse the stock rods, and all that we're doing is replacing the pistons with higher compression pistons. Got the block all down. At this point, you just want to inspect all of your crank journals, make sure there's no scoring in them or any weird indentations or anything. Same thing with the rod journals. You just want to make sure that there's no scoring in the bearings or anything. I've already checked these out and they are all good to go. If this was a motor that we were rebuilding with new rods, I'd be taking this a whole different route. I'd be measuring all of the journals, making sure they're within spec. But since we are reusing the old connecting rod bearings with the old connecting rods, it's gonna be like it never came apart. They're going all back in the same order they came out. So this should just be plug and play. It's like replacing piston rings on any car and you putting everything back in. So it should work the same way. All we're doing is replacing the pistons with bigger dome pistons. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through with you guys all of these new parts I got, because I'm excited to show y'all. So let's get into it. All right, let's get into this unboxing. Show y'all these right here, because I've been waiting to unbox these. These are the pistons, so I'll show you guys. If you want the part number for it, there you go. It's for B20. So, yep. If you need those, these, they say they're about 12.3 to 1 compression versus the stock 9 to 1. So these are gonna be pretty high compression. Well, this is 12 to 1 with the cylinder head. I think stock, it'll probably raise it to 11 to 1, I believe, I wanna say. But with the cylinder head, with the GSR cylinder head, it's gonna raise it to about 12. I'll show you guys a comparison. Wow, yeah, that's a big difference. But you can see the lip on the fresh piston sticking up, and the valve cutout is much deeper than the stock ones, which is gonna give us a higher compression because it's pushing up that dome a little bit. So this B20V should be pretty peppy with this. And it also comes with your brand new wrist pin. Now I was telling you guys earlier that these are press fit wrist pins. These are not floating. The reason I got press fit ones is because these stock rods are press fit. If you want to keep your stock rods, you're gonna have to get the pistons with the press fit pins instead of the floating. If you do get the floating ones, you need to get aftermarket rods, or you either need to sell those pistons and go get pistons that have the press fit pins. So these press fit pins, they suck to do, but I don't want to run aftermarket rods because lighter rotational mass is the overall objective, and I'm not pushing high horsepower outputs, so there's no need for me to go for an H-beam rod. It really wouldn't be necessary. So we are going to keep the stock rod, and it should be plenty. Stock rod should be plenty. You can boost these CRVs, and people have boosted them on the stock rods, so you should be running these should be plenty. So here we have our Hasting rings. I've never ran Hasting. I've ran the eBay rings, so Hasting's can't be too bad. If you know, I wouldn't say eBay, but these are in Japan, NPR. I run these on a lot of things. I run NPR piston rings on my EG on the single cam, so those I ran on that. And no, that hasn't given me any issues. I've driven that this whole summer, probably put around 3,000 miles on it, give or take. Drove it a lot, so, and it's been holding up. We have our Zerg's B20V kit here. So this is gonna come with the B20 vtec kit is gonna come with your head gasket, if I can find it. So comes with a cosmetic head gasket. I wanted an OEM head gasket because OEM is the best. I run OEM on everything, but nonetheless, cosmetics should get the job done. Better than Felpro. So, but the B20V kit from Zerg comes with your step down dowels. It comes with your fittings for the feed lines for the back of the turbo. Comes with your plug for the head. You have to plug the head. You have to tap and plug the head. And the Zerg kit comes with the tap. Comes with the tap and the fitting. Comes with the oil feed line, and it comes with the sandwich plate for the block to run oil pressure to the cylinder head, because the B20 block does not have a hole that supports oil pressure going to the cylinder head to engage VTEC. So we have to bypass that and manually run a oil feed line from the oil sandwich plate to the head to feed oil pressure to the VTEC. So that's the B20 VTEC kit. Seen the head gasket, we have that. I'll show you gotta show you the intake manifold and all the rest of the stuff. I have a fuel pump. We have a 255 fuel pump we're gonna be swapping in there too to compensate for the more air that's gonna be in there. Obviously we're gonna have to be pushing more fuel, so I have all upgraded parts for that as well. So this whole build purpose is to be a budget build B20V. We're trying to build this for under, let's say, 800 bucks. I'll have to count everything up and tell you how much in total we spent, but basically we're not trying to break the bank on this build. So if you're trying to build your B20V on a budget, this is exactly how you do it. These pistons cost me about 200 bucks, brand new from eBay. We have these knockoff ARP head studs, even though they're not knockoff. If you go to the ARP head studs and search up the part number, you can get the ARP head studs without having to buy the ARP head stud from the brand themselves, because it's tax. All you're paying for is the name. So these are our ARP head studs from Bull Boost Performance. These were about half the price of ARP stud, a fraction actually, a third. We paid about 60-70 bucks for a set of these ARP studs versus the 140 or 200 bucks is gonna be from getting them from ARP. And they also come with all your washers and your 12.14 mil, I want to say, nuts. So I myself have not opened this up and took it out. So all of this stuff you're seeing is me opening it up too. And this from eBay, y'all. This is an eBay GSR intake manifold. You can get them for like 120 bucks. So basically it's a knockoff from the Skunk 2, and honestly it don't look that different from the Skunk 2 at all. It literally looks the exact same as the Skunk 2. Only thing is missing the faceplate. But you know what? You see how that's funny? How it comes with a Skunk 2 bag, and it also comes with the Skunk 2 badge in there. So they're never gonna know. How would they know? So yeah, here we have this. Hopefully this thing holds up. I was told that sometimes this little nipple right here, which is for the coolant, I heard this breaks off from what I've been told. So we're probably just gonna throw a slab of RT Honda bond around it. I don't think that is gonna snap because it looks like it's in there pretty good. But just for the extra security, we are just gonna JB weld that up, make sure that doesn't come off. Like I said, budget build. I can't find a manifold on Marketplace, and if I do find one, everybody wants 300, 400 plus for a manifold that 4 years ago used to be 200 bucks. So not getting taxed for that. I'm just gonna budget build it. So we have manifold, Skunk 2 manifold, Skunk 2 manifold. And to go with that manifold, we have this fuel rail right here. See the name, it says Gentleman's Club Racing, Gentleman's Club Automotive. This is a B series fuel rail. Fuel rail don't matter. This is literally a tube with a hole in it with 4 ports to go to your injectors. The thing that really matters is your injectors. So it's some things that you can get away with getting a cheap part of, and it's some things that you actually want to spend money on, like a fuel pump, electronics and stuff like that. But a fuel rail, this is probably the same quality, if not better than your OEM, just your stock fuel rail. You could run a stock fuel rail if you wanted to, but obviously I don't have a stock fuel rail, so I'm gonna run this one. Yeah, so for right now, that's gonna be it for the unboxing video. Trust me guys, I got a lot more boxes to unbox. We still have the rear disc conversion to do. Speaking of, I have the brackets. brackets are in for the rear disc conversion, and we have all of the prelude brakes, brake lines to do the rear disc conversion. Obviously, I want to go one thing at a time. There's so many projects on the CRV. So first thing we're gonna do is we're focusing on rebuilding the motor right now. Not really focused on doing all of the brake work yet. We're gonna rebuild the motor first, and then, you know, work our way from the front to the back. You know, we got the motor all apart. Now it's time to actually get into upgrading everything. So we got the pistons. We need to put the pistons onto the old connecting rods. So we need to heat up the connecting rods. But in the middle of that, I actually couldn't get the piston pins to come out. These connecting rods are just so old, and the piston pins are so stuck in there. I'm gonna actually have to take them to my job and press them out. So, and like that, I'm back. Pistons on, man. So we got the pistons on. We got the ARP bolts in the connecting rods, and let me tell y'all, man, this setup finna go crazy. So here we got the high 12-to-1 compression piston on there on the stock rod, press fit, of course. Now we have to install these rings, which we have to gap. So we got to gap these rings. We got the sheet here. So I'll be doing the street strip spec. So obviously you're gonna take your bore in inches and multiply it times that number for cast or forged piston. Same thing with the second ring. I'm gonna multiply it times 0.005, and then that should give you your measurements. And for mine, for my top ring, I got after multiplying that, you get 0.014, and then for the second ring you get 0.016. So we need to gap the top and the second ring, and then after that, throw these pistons in. I'll show you guys how to deck this, do a home resurface. So I'll show you guys how to do an at-home resurface on this block and the cylinder head as well. Obviously, you know, we can't put new pistons in if we don't hone out the cylinder, so had to stop at that good auto zone. Not the best one. I would have got the ball hone, but they didn't have it, so this will do. This will literally do what we needed to do. All right, so when you're doing your rings, you put your rings in there. In the top, you can use your piston and push down to about the last ring. That's probably about close to an inch. So you put it in there about a ring, you get it flat, and now you would take your measurements right in between that gap. So this is the top ring. We want it to be at 0.014. So we're gonna measure these. If these are too small, we're gonna take them out and file them down. You wanna use the file them down, and then retest. Make sure, go at small increments at a time. You don't want to file off too much. Now you have a bigger gap spec, which is for a different type of application. So take it slow, step by step. Go slow to move fast. And yeah, so we're gonna gap up these rings and do the second rings as well. We have to gap the top and the second ring. So we're gonna gap these rings, and then I'll come back and we should be able to assemble this motor fully. All right, we got our rings all gapped, got them in here. So now we have to set the positions, basically space out the rings. Since they have a gap in them, you don't want the gaps to be aligned. First and second ring is crucial for the space. Third rings, it doesn't matter. The third rings, you can put them wherever you want. But usually what I do, intake side, I'll put this gap. As you can see, the top ring is on this left corner of the piston ring, and then we have the next gap, which is the second ring. You see the second ring is pointed that way, so we have the first ring pointed this way and the second ring pointed that way. You don't want them too spaced together, because then you'll get what's called blow by, and that's basically compression leaking past the piston rings into the crankcase, and that's how you get positive crankcase pressure, and more pressure than you want built up in your crankcase is not good. So make sure you have your rings gapped right. So you see top ring is pointing here, second ring is pointed this way. Yeah, that was this for piston 1. So we're gonna set the gap like this for all 4 of them, and then we need to hone these cylinders out before we put the pistons back in. All right guys, so what we're doing here is we have to check the warpage of the block before we do an at-home resurface. I'll show you guys how to do that in a bit, but this is what you call a straight edge. Literally just a big piece of metal with the flattest surface that you can get. This is specifically made for this. So the spec on this block is anything over 0.002 inches, it needs to be resurfaced. So we're gonna take this gauge here. You can already see it's starting to go through there. So we got some slight warpage. Slight warpage, very slight. So you basically want to do that. Check all points, check multiple points. You see we got it going under there, so not the worst. We could have ran this, so we could have ran this head without needing to resurface the block, but we are just gonna do it anyways. Straight edge, you got that checked. You're gonna need that. And there's also this special sandpaper is called emery cloth. So this is used. This is very fine sandpaper. This is used for purposes like this. So you want to take this, and I'm pretty sure you can already tell what I'm gonna do. You're gonna wrap it around the straight edge. So you're using your straight edge to resurface. And you want to grab it. This is how you're gonna hold your straight edge with your emery cloth. And you're basically gonna try to keep it flat. Just like that. Now you're not gonna use it as it was sandpaper. You're literally gonna do light scuffs like this. In every direction. Basically, just putting a slight resurface on the head. So just make sure you're doing even passes. You can't really see, but if you were to see, there's like a scoring in the block. And if we were to take the straight edge to it again, it should be less. So that's basically all there is to resurfacing a block. If you want to do it at home, I've done this to almost all of my motors. When I pull a head off, I'll take the straight edge and just take the emery cloth to it and just make sure it's all squared away, make sure it's not warped. So now we could come back. Oh yeah, we could come back with the 0.2, and you can see it doesn't even get in there no more. So literally a light resurface at home is perfectly fine. This is literally a at-home build. I'm doing this build at home to show you guys that you can do everything at home. Resurfacing, honing the block, replacing the pistons. Obviously I pressed them out at my job because I couldn't get these out, but if you have a press or use a nut in the bolt with some spacers, you can get the pistons out at home for sure, guaranteed. It is time to hone these cylinders out, man. So right here we have a little cap full of oil, and we have our honing tool. Like I said, this tool does work fine, but I do recommend you use the ball hone, only because the ball hone is just that legendary honing tool. You got to use the ball hone, but this one nonetheless should get the job done. So first thing you want to do is just lube up the cylinder walls. So when you're doing this, take your tool, put it inside, rest it there. Now you're only going up and down, I want to say about 6 or 7 times, and that's it. You don't want to overdo it, and also it'll wear out the stone on the cutting tool. So literally up and down 7 times, and then go to the next one, same thing, next one until you're done. So I'll show you that right now, and let's hone these cylinders out. Now you want to go at it with a rag, just go all inside all of them. Try to get all the debris out. If I had a blowgun, I'd be blowing air through here to get all of the debris out, but we're gonna make sure we clean all of this shit up super nice and make sure there are no metal shavings, because metal shavings is not good. And you see down there we have our journals. You don't want to get metal shavings on your crank journals and put the bearings on from the rods and have metal shavings get inside of your bearings, because that will cause scoring and scratches to get on the bearings. Yeah, just make sure you clean all that debris off, clean all the metal shavings off. And after you do, you want to throw another coat of oil in each of the cylinders just to keep it coated. And clean this block up, and then we can put these pistons back in and torque everything down. So y'all seen, we just put the pistons in, we just torqued down the connecting rod bolts, and the whole rotating assembly for the bottom end is put back together. Only thing we do need to do is just finish putting the oil pan on and all of the pickup tube shit. I'll let you see here. Beautiful, man. This shit look good. I left a message for myself. Y'all know I blew the last one. Don't blow this one. So I'm gonna try not to blow this one up, man. So big power coming for this bitch. Gotta put the cylinder head on now. Finish putting the oil pump on, put all of the oil pickup tube shit back in, then we can finish the bottom end for that. And then yeah, head go back on and we'll be done with this motor. Before we put the head on, we need to do the B20V vtec conversion kit, which is, we need to add my dowels to the block. So we have step down dowel pins. We got some fittings for the oil pressure and some taps for the cylinder head, because we have to tap some oil ports for the cylinder head, and we also have to add the sandwich plate to the oil filter housing. So we need to do all of that right now before we go ahead and put the GSR head on the block. So let's do that. All right, we got the cylinder head here, and we need to block one of these ports off for the oil pressure. So this is the port right here, this small port that we need to block. This is on the intake side, as you can see. But this is the small port that we need to tap and add this die to. So tap and add this plug. Of course, make sure you got a little bit of lube. In this case, we have WD-40 here. And just make sure you're going straight on. Bag it out. Clean out any burrs in there. If you see, now we have a perfectly threaded hole. Now you're gonna take your plug and you wanna add some Teflon paste. I would use Teflon tape, but you don't want anything breaking off. Teflon paste I would definitely use. So we're gonna do some Teflon paste on this, and we can go ahead and insert this plug. And it should sit perfectly flush with the cylinder head. ARP head studs in. Time to throw this head gasket on. Cosmetic, of course. Here we have the sandwich plate right here. And just literally just throw it over. Tighten it down. So I have my ports facing this way. I have one port facing this way to the top, and this one facing that way. Mainly because this oil line is gonna come over here where the cylinder head goes. The oil line is gonna come right here. So here we have the step down dowels for the vtec head. So the small portion is gonna go inside your B20 block, like so. And then your big portion is obviously gonna go in the cylinder head. So just wanted to show you guys that, and make sure you don't put these in the wrong way. We got the motor fully put together, man. Got the GSR head slapped on the B20. It's ready to go in the CRV. Just missing a few things. Am missing this cam cap for the Dizzy. Didn't come with the head. All the rest of them did, so we do have to find this one cam cap for the Dizzy. What you dropping over there, bro? So if one of y'all, if somebody in the comments or somebody who follow got a GSR cam cap for this, let me know. Or B16, it'll work too. But other than that, block is fully assembled, y'all. Just got to do all the timing components, but for the most part, everything is fully together and it's done. That's the end of this video. If you fuck with the video, like, comment, subscribe, and you already know, gang gang, we out.